Always excited to talk to guests here on GKW and excited to bring in our next one because MLW is going to be in Chicago this weekend as we welcome in Bobby Fish. Bobby, thank you so much for the time, man.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate y'all having me on. I am jazzed to say the least. I am ready to go. Chicago always been a spot I've loved to perform in, and I get to do that with MLW, and I could not be more excited about what we have going on with MLW to begin with. So let's do it.
Yeah, well, our guy Jay Hood is in Chicago. So what makes Chicago? Because again, whether it's WWE, AEW, or like anytime a company goes there, it always seems like the crowd is going to be really hot. And I know MLW's been there a couple of times now as well. I'm guessing it's more of the same when it comes to the crowd.
It really is. And it is. It's just that. It's the crowd. They always bring it. And like we feed off of their energy the same way that they feed off of ours. You know, you come through that curtain and those people paid their hard-earned money to come and see you, to escape from what their everyday is, and you owe them a show. And in that same regard, when they give us the energy that they provide, I can't help it. Even if I didn't want to give them a show, I'm under the spell. You know, it's going to happen. And Chicago is one of those places.
Bobby, what was the first time that a wrestler walked up to you and said, "Hey, man, I really like your match. You got something going for yourself"? That had to be a first time where you're like, "Wow, someone noticed my match and said, boy, I think I can really do this for a living."
Well, that last statement that you just said, like, I can really do this for a living, that takes me back to when I started working for Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan. It was a unique situation where I thought, because I got hooked up with Noah through Harley Race. That's where they saw me. It was a Harley Race camp, and the invitation was supposed to be to come over and train in the dojo for 3 months. And that was it. And when I got booked to go, I realized that my flight itinerary was 3 weeks, and I was a bit confused. I called Harley, and Harley, in his gruffled voice, said, "I don't know, kid. You'll have to figure it out." And that was about as much light as he shed on it. I went over there, and I realized within the first day, like, oh my God, I'm wrestling on TV tomorrow night. And for me at that time, that was my first TV exposure, period. Now, it happened to be in Japan, but I was going to wrestle on TV for the very first time. And I did, and it went, I didn't get kicked out of the place. So it was that moment that I realized, like, wow. And I finished the tour. I was on tour with the company. They brought me in just to start working as a wrestler, not to come in and train in the dojo. And that was where the confusion was, is when they saw me there, they thought, oh, this guy's ready. Like, he's working somewhere else already, obviously. And I really wasn't. I was only doing American Indies. So that was my first inkling, because I got paid, I don't remember what, but it was in the thousands to be there. Plus I got flown back and forth to and from Japan. I was like, can I do this? And that was really my first light bulb moment of like, hey, there's something here.
Well, MLW coming to Chicago, Bobby Fish joining us again this Saturday, November 9th. As somebody who has wrestled all over the world for a number of different promotions, what can people expect when MLW is in Chicago?
MLW right now to me is like, we're that dark horse, but we're doing all the right things, and we got all the right pieces of the puzzle. I'm going to say coming together, because we're still adding things. I got a chance to, I was talking about Noah previously. I got a chance to wrestle with Kenta for MLW, and that was a revisitation for me. So there's a personal story there. But then you got like Donovan Dijak coming in now, and he is making so much friggin' noise. Not that he can ever be inconspicuous at like 7 foot whatever, and doing moonsaults. But it's exciting, man. You got Riddle, guys like Tom Lawler. There's so many pieces to this puzzle that are coming together at just the right time. And I'm biased in this opinion, but the Rogue Horsemen, we have arrived, and we are about to make things, if nothing else, we're going to make things really, really interesting. I love nothing more than pissing people off, getting under their skin. And I'm going to say the same thing about my boys, BRG, CW, and Brock Anderson. The Rogue Horsemen have arrived, and we are here to make a mess if we have to. But one way or the other, like, you are not going to forget, like, oh, okay, Horsemen are here.
Yeah, MLW is on YouTube weekly. It is sold out at the Cicero Stadium in Chicago. But again, watch the show on YouTube. It's something about you and the faction. It always works. You've never been in a bad faction. I love to see Brock Anderson with like a breath of fresh air, second opportunity, and then being with CW Anderson, that whole lineage there. What's that like? Because that thing has legs to me, Bobby. That thing, I think your group has an opportunity to take over the place. You already have, but I think it has longevity. How do you see it?
I see it the same way. I was like chomping at the bit when that opportunity was presented. Man, I grew up watching NWA the Crockett years. So like Arn and Tully were the basis of what Red Dragon was with me and Kyle. Like there were, I cannot understate. For me, my favorite match in NXT was AOP with Paul Ellering, of all people, on the floor. We were in Philadelphia against Kyle and myself. For me, that was Kyle and I got to be Tully and Arn and face the Road Warriors with Paul Ellering on the floor. That was like living out a childhood dream. So to be paired now with CW and Brock, and I've known Brock's dad previously, and he's the enforcer. I mean, the legend that he is, and I have such appreciation for everything that he did, because that was part of my childhood, such a integral part of my fandom. Even the Brainbusters run, like, who are we kidding? Sean and Marty against the Brainbusters, like some of those matches on MSG, which I'm from New York, that's the stuff I got to see. Just mind-boggling to me that same kid from upstate New York is now helping the son of the enforcer. What? And that's the way I see this. Is this thing is going to be a vehicle for Brock and BRG to grow? And man, with where I am in my career, and then furthermore with my life, this is what I want. I realized, like, all these years I've been around my peers, and everybody kind of knows the same stuff. But once you start to get around some of the younger cats coming up, you realize, man, some of this stuff that I take for granted, people don't know. And it needs to be passed on, because a lot of it's not even my knowledge. It's guys like Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard and William Regal and Fit Finley. Those are the people whose knowledge I'm passing on. Like, how dare I bogart that? So this has given me an opportunity. The Rogue Horseman gives me and CW another one with just a wealth of knowledge we can pour in. And that's exciting.
Well, you're sharing this knowledge elsewhere as well, because you're working now as a coach, helping out in a gym down there in Florida, in a wrestling school down there in Florida. How did that come about? How is that treating you?
I am actually, and man, I love it. I love it. House of Champions. It's in Longwood. It's a suburb of Orlando, Florida. It's a wrestling school, and Jamie Stanley, he and his wife own the school. Kakoa is their head trainer. He and I go back to like the New England area back in the day. So just all incredible people, and they have an incredible facility, top notch. I've not seen, the only places I can compare to this would be the Performance Center itself, or then there's actually, I forgot to mention this. I've also been fortunate enough to be a part-time coach, the Dark Arts Wrestling Academy in Plant City, Florida. That's Malachi Black. He owns that and he runs that out of Plant City. And whenever I'm in Tampa, because my business manager lives in Tampa, whenever I'm in Tampa, I go in and help out with the Dark Arts. And again, that's another place where the facility, I mean, Tom's been, or Malachi's been, a very smart man with his earnings over the years, and he's pouring back into the business in a way that, like, I don't know many who have done what he's doing. So yeah, both of those places I have to give a big shout out to. The Dark Arts, Plant City, Florida, closer to Tampa area, and then the House of Champions, Longwood, Florida. It's a suburb of Orlando. Both, if you're looking to train to wrestle, I can't think of a better place. And on top of that, like you get the professor, you get the most educated feet in professional wrestling himself. That's me.
Yes. We figured,
Yes.
Bobby. We figured that was
Unless that's you guys. Unless one of you guys have that copyrighted.
No, we don't.
We want to stay legal here.
Lucha Apocalypto is going to be at the Cicero Stadium in Chicago. You can watch it on YouTube on Saturday. I'll be there at Cicero Stadium to check it out. I'm wondering, Bobby, and I know the audience knows this, but I think it has to be said out loud. Every time you take the mic, it's calculated. You're not rushing through your promo. Every time you wrestle, it's a must-watch because you're not trying to rush through your match. Everything's calculated. You stop, you do your move, you stop. And so I just want to know how difficult that is to impart on your students or people that come to see you, because a lot of guys want to go a million miles a minute, but it lasts because you are making sure that we understand the moments. How difficult is that to tell today's wrestlers that, hey, don't rush to your promo and take your time in the ring. You don't have to flip 100 times to get over.
Mm-hmm. You know, the ironic thing is I find myself repeating things that were told to me when I was in my younger days, and I didn't necessarily absorb them. I heard them, but I didn't actually get them. And then I did years later. So I'm hoping that I try to subdue some of my frustration at times, trying to get what's in my head out of my mouth. Try to subdue that frustration by understanding that, hey, some of this, you got to be patient. You know, I'm a Christian, and so I believe everything is on his schedule, not ours. And sometimes what we think is not turning out the way we want is only our lack of patience. So I try to remember that, hey, some of what I say today might not make sense, but 6 months from now, 3 years from now, I don't know, it may click. And if that happens, then I did my job, you know? So yeah, I try to take it with a grain of salt and understand that, like, it's all, to me, the best way that you can go out and wrestle is rhythm. There's a rhythm in the ring. There's a rhythm to, I do a lot of stand-up martial arts, a lot of Muay Thai, boxing, and I tell clients and people that take the classes, like, it's rhythm. You don't just stand and punch the bag. You punch the bag, you move your head, then you move your feet. And there's a rhythm to that. And I look at pro wrestling the exact same way. Now you have your, there's things that you're working towards, but working is all about rhythm.
Bobby, we certainly appreciate the time. Look forward to seeing you in Chicago. Best of luck going forward with MLW and all the other endeavors you find yourself in.
Yeah, gentlemen, I can't say thank you enough. I really appreciate it. And I don't know if you two know this, but you're looking at the next MLW World Heavyweight Champion, Kojima. I've been really curbing my language. Is this is a family friendly, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I'll keep it clean. But Kojima is in trouble. He is in trouble because nobody really saw this coming, but I did, and that's the thing. And you said it before, sir. I come off calculated. I come off manufactured and well thought out, and that's the truth. That's what it is. There is not a thing that I do that is not backed up with a why, and my why will be completely apparent come this weekend, and the recipient of that is going to be Kojima. Unfortunately for him, the Japanese legend that he is, I got to put him down.
That's cool, man. Hey, watch out for Kojima, but definitely watch out for Court Bauer. He'll take your wallet. Careful.
Well, we're gonna keep him away from my wallet. It's a good thing I don't carry a wallet. I do have a money clip though. I'll keep him away from that.
All right. That's going to be tougher to grab. That's going to be a little tougher to nab. Bobby, thank you so much, man.
More slippery. Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Gabe, nothing surprises me. Of course he's got a money clip. He's Bobby Fish. Of course he does. Of course he does.
There you go.